Hi, I'm Renée Walker, a mindset mentor, speaker, and lover of all things spiritual. I believe that at our core, we are all spiritually wired for love, peace, success, and abundance. Here on the podcast, we're diving into mindset, wellness, and business, but always through a spiritual lens. Let's just say we're going deep, but we're keeping it light. So let's elevate your life from the inside out, one conversation at a time. Welcome to Spiritually Wired. Hello and welcome to Spiritually Wired. I am fresh off the Manifestor event, and I have to say, my intention is to record sort of a short recap of the day, but I'm not quite sure if I can do that. I actually originally was planning on recording the podcast episode the day after because I thought, okay, I'll be fresh. And then I know that the producers of the podcast, the amazing team at the Social Snippet who help me bring this podcast to life, were like, okay, we need it. We need it right away. And I just couldn't do it. I was the day after, felt like I was floating. And it took me a few days to just ground myself, come back into my body, and feel like I can actually sit and record this episode for you. So it was a day that was, the word that keeps being used is magical, because that's sort of what it felt like. It was, I'm just going to do my best to share what's coming to me now. And I have a feeling that there's going to be probably a few other episodes that are going to follow this. But, for now, sort of like the big thing that is, I guess there's like five big things that I wanted to share. And the first one is sort of like where manifesting begins with having a belief in a higher power and a higher energy at play. So to me, when you use the word manifesting, it sort of like gets a really like a bad rap, because most people think of like, oh, you just think about something and cuckoo, snap your fingers and it happens. So it's very much misunderstood that way. But to me, it's like when we're in the space of manifesting, it starts with this belief in a higher power, because otherwise we're setting goals. And so when you create an event around the theme of manifesting, it means that right away you are bringing together people that have this belief, that get it. We're already sort of like in that space. And that is so fun, because the frequency, the vibration, the energy of the people that were present was just incredible. And then on top of it, we were in this gorgeous venue at Paletta Mansion that is right on the lake, so on Lake Ontario. It was a gorgeous sunny day. I have to say, I had my moments, like when you're planning a big event in January, it's like, oh, I hope the weather cooperates with us. And it was just like this stunning day. So it felt truly magical, like from the moment we walked in and began the day. And I have to say, like doing this with Binu, my friend that, we've been friends for a long time, but this was our first time collaborating at this level. It felt just, it was so smooth. It was so easy. Like it literally, like we were just so connected and right. Both of us had the same intention. Both of us could sort of just lean on each other, trust. And it really, truly was being what we felt like intuitively guided. I mean, we definitely had a plan for the day. We knew where we were going, but we purposely didn't have like scripts. We purposely didn't go too big into like, okay, this is what I'm going to say, only because we wanted to make sure that we were open to whatever it is that showed up, being able to be present, to read the room and to connect with the people and to trust that we were going to be guided where we needed to go. And so that is something that, I mean, I have to say most of the events that I do on my own are like that, but when you're doing it with someone else, you really need to sort of have that trust that we're both going to be able to do it together. So that again just added to the magic. So everyone having that underlining belief in this higher power, and we were just all there. I mean, we talked about, Binu at one point asked like, okay, who sees signs here, and like feathers and birds and numbers, and it was just like the whole room had their hand up. It was just so cool to be there and to witness it. There was a lot of talk around desires. And, it's interesting because when I really got into my spiritual journey, so it's sort of like my path started with coaching. And so the sort of like energy around setting goals and working towards our goals and all of that energy was very present. And then it's like life happened to me in a way where I remember sort of like being, had this thing happen in my life where I was sort of like, I don't want to say the word force, but I just knew like intuitively I need to take a step back and I need to just focus on my health and my family. And it was like really in that pause that my spiritual connection deepened. And so after that, then there was this time where it felt like, really being happy with what was and sort of like seeing desires as like more of a push towards doing things. So it's interesting how life happens to then sort of like come back full circle and really recognize that we are here again. We keep saying it's like we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And so part of our physical experience is really having these desires. And so when we recognize that it's like, okay, there's this greater energy, so source, connection, God, spirit, whatever it is that you want to use, universal consciousness, whatever term resonates with you. It's like we're working with this higher energy. We're always co-creating with this higher energy. And then it's like, okay, your body, your mind is the vessel, and then your soul is like that divine aspect of you that holds the essence of this higher power, but is also connected with your physical body and your mind. And so desires are there sort of like showing us the way forward, the way, like, what are our next step? It's like, if you're looking for guidance, it's like pay attention to what is lighting you up, to what you love, to what excites you, to where you really feel called to go towards. And it's like desires don't happen by accident. Not everyone has the same desires. But when you do have that desire, it's like pay attention. And so the key thing for me has been like learning discernment of like, where is this desire coming from, right? Really paying attention after of like, is this ego or is this coming from love? Does this feel like truly inspired? Because ego is also present. And so with every decision, every project I say yes to, I really need to like pay attention to where is this coming from? Is this, is this me just wanting to fit in? Is this me feeling like I should be doing this? Is this me looking outside of myself for that external validation? Or is this truly a desire that is coming from within, but from the part of me that is connected to this greater source of energy? And so when that is what shows up, then it's like, okay, now we want to pay attention to it and see, where is this guiding me? Where do I need to go? I'm pretty sure I've shared this in the podcast, but I know it's something that I share a lot in my classes and my sessions. It's like, for years for me, my soul's purpose, I thought it was like something that I had to do to then recognize that my soul's purpose, which is my dharma, is really about being the fullest expression of who I am. And the fullest expression, right? In order to be the fullest expression, the desires are leading us towards that. And that fullest expression is always changing based on where you're at. So it's really interesting to sort of pay attention to those desires and really allow them to guide you towards where you need to be next. So there was a lot of talk around honoring them and making sure that they are coming sort of from that place. And then also recognizing that it's like the desire is calling you forward, but it's not really about the desire. It's about the process of growth, of healing, of surrendering. It's like the becoming, the remembering, the showing up for this desire is actually the true gift. So it's like, okay, I want to write a book. I want to be an author. Well, in becoming a author, there's going to be a lot of sort of blocks and challenges and setbacks and opportunities to really grow and expand in your capacity. The idea of like showing up as an author and really honoring that desire and showing up for the writing part. It's like the process of writing that book, the fear around like, oh my God, what are people going to say? And am I truly, do I truly have, like, who am I to write a book? And I'm not special enough. And what are people going to think? And all of those limiting beliefs that are going to show up in the process of writing that book are going to actually give you the opportunity to release some of those limiting beliefs that are in the way of who you are today and the author that is calling you, right? So part of it, it's like the process of healing and then the process of stepping up and showing up as that version of you that has already written that book. So, when we have goals, it's like you have a goal, you have a desire, but then it's like focus on the process of who you're becoming there and how you are showing up in order for that to be in existence, in order for that desire to actually come into reality. So that is so huge. I think of like an easy example too is like our health, right? Oh, I want to feel healthier. I want to feel maybe leaner, stronger. I want to have energy. I want to improve my digestion. So we're usually clear on it's like, okay, this is how I want to feel. But it's like, well, the person that is strong, that is, maybe lean, healthy, that has healed her digestive system, how is she showing up? It's not like, oh, I'm just going to think about being healthy and it's going to happen. No, there are certain ways in which I'm showing up. There are certain things that I'm doing to look after myself that are going to actually bring this desire to life. Right? So it's like, be clear on the desire, but then focus on the process of you stepping into that desire. So that was such a big part of it. And it's like part of that is expanding your capacity to receive it. So it's like if you think of who you are today, it's like your vessel today, your physical body, your mind with who you are, you want to be able to expand that capacity to receive what that desire is. If you're working on, again, being healthy, on attracting more money into your life, well, you need to expand your capacity to receive that, to be with that level of success, to be with that level of joy, of health, of peace, of spiritual connection, all of it. So I focus on the vessels. Such a great conversation around that. And it was so much fun to bring that conversation. And that means that part of the manifesting, there's a whole lot of releasing and healing, right? So to me, that's where I've come to. It's like when you can intersect where spirituality and mindset come together, like that is where the magic happens. All of the offers that I do, the Spiritually Wired membership, the intention behind this podcast, it's like, how can we bring mindset and spirituality? Because the desire piece to me is the spiritual piece, but then it's like all of the stuff that's getting in the way of who I am today and the version of me that is able to bring that desire to life. That's the mindset piece, right? So we need to remove the blocks between where you are now and that desire. So, you see, I get really excited and I could talk about this forever, but here we are. The other thing that kept showing up was just the power of community. And I mean, the power of community, oh my goodness, surrounding yourself with other people who are thinking big, who want you, like who see you in your fullest potential. So to me, it was like that room was like holding space for people to show up in their full potential and really be themselves. And it was like, that was just so incredibly magical. Like people were saying after, it's like to be in a room where I don't even have to explain what I do. Everyone was sort of on that same wavelength. It was so refreshing. And it's so nice to know it's like, okay, I belong. Like there's other people that get this and that want good for me, that want to see me succeed. And it just became so clear how important it is. And it's like, if you are listening to this and you couldn't make it to the event, or maybe you had some resistance around going to the event, which I totally get. If that's you, it's like, okay, where can you find these people? And putting yourself out there, which oftentimes is very uncomfortable, but pay attention to where the people are that vibrate, that resonate at that level, that you feel a connection to. Show up, sign up for those rooms, do the best you can, come into our community, or create your own communities. Do like really sort of honor that. You know, they say you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. And it's so interesting because, you know, sometimes, and I've spoken to a lot of people who feel like sometimes it's in their families that they feel the disconnect the most. So it's like, if that's what's happening, then it becomes even more important to make sure that your circle outside is really strong and sees that potential in you and lifts you up. You know, the basis foundation of coaching is really when we are with a client, when I'm with a client, it's like I see their full potential. I'm not coaching necessarily the version that is showing up that may have some resistance or may coming at it from a place of wanting the healing. It's like I hold their light. I just see their potential. And that is the person that I'm speaking to, which is so incredibly, like I've been held that way and it feels so loving and so supportive. So that was a big thing that came up. And I'd say, like, on a personal level for me, it was really continuing to show up, continuing to, you know, all of the, if I look back and it's like the growth that has happened from the willingness to show up when I feel uncomfortable. And you realize when you do this work and when you surround yourself with other people who do this work, it's like everyone has their stuff that they're moving through. And and they're still doing it. So it's like having the willingness of like, yeah, okay, this feels a little scary. Yeah, I'm feeling some beliefs, like some things show up, and I'm still going to love and honor myself and show up anyway and be willing to do it in that messy way. It was so interesting. So, a little side note, but I, we really focused, really sort of opened up the space the week before, which I was so grateful for, to immerse myself in that energy of just giving and the event, and really sort of energetically aligning myself with what it is that we wanted to create and the women that were showing up, that were coming. And so I was looking after myself physically, taking, like, everything was good. And then the night, so we had our VIP night on the Thursday night, which I haven't even talked about, but the VIP night was just so incredible. And again, it was just women showing up in a way that was like truly so special to be in that room. And then I came home and I felt so good. I went to bed. I feel like I fell asleep a bit, and then I woke up and I could not go back to sleep. It was so interesting. But the thing is that I've had that happen before, where it's like just the nerves for the next day. So, when you've got like something big happening and you're, trying to plan, and what am I going to say in this? And there was none of that. Like, I felt so sort of like grounded in it. I just, for some reason, couldn't sleep. And I was like, okay, in the beginning, it's like, okay, I'm not going to resist it. I'm just going to let myself be with the fact that I can't sleep. But then, then it was like going on for hours. And I'm like, okay, my alarm is going on in like less than 2 hours. And I have a big day ahead of me. And I really want to show up in my power. And what is going on? Like, come on, universe, spirit, like, what is going on? Anyhow, eventually I fall asleep, and I only slept for a little bit. So I woke up and I felt very tired, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, like, now I need to like show up. So I'm in the shower and I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why did that happen? I did everything right. Like, I felt like I had done everything right to prepare myself, and then I couldn't sleep. And I got this like immediate knowing. And I mean, this is going to sound weird for some of you, but I'm just going to go there. So it's like I get this immediate knowing, and that knowing was like, okay, we need you tired so that you can show up fully tomorrow and let yourself be guided and not be in your head. So it's like, that's why it happened. We don't want you in your head. We don't want you thinking today. We want you to just be, and to allow for the guidance to just show up, for you to really trust that it's like, okay, if you're present, you're going to tune into the message that needs to be said. So it was really, it made sense. I mean, I didn't like it. I thought it was a little extreme, but apparently that's what I needed. And I sort of like could feel it that day. I just felt that I could really more like the trust piece was more present, and I was not overthinking things because I was maybe just tired, who knows. But it was an interesting thing. So it's like coming back to like, things are always happening for us, and to really allow yourself to be in that energy that everything is unfolding for you. So that was good. And, interestingly enough, one of the things that showed up, and this is maybe something that I'll expand more on a future episode, but in being fully present, like towards the end, I was sharing around surrendering. I just had this moment too of like being sharing the message that it's like, for me personally, from a spiritual perspective, when we speak of manifesting, it's like we have our whole energy field, and we have like us here in our physical bodies and minds, and like our soul that is here tapping into this frequency. And so we're moving through like our desires, we're expanding all of that and beyond that is that bigger energy is so much more than we can even understand or tap into. And so I felt in that moment also the pull to like just share. We're manifesting to the extent in which we can in this lifetime in our bodies, and there are things that happen that are beyond that, and that goes for tragedies, and that goes for some of the big stuff that people go through in their life, that it's just bigger than this. I believe in something called soul contracts, where it's like, for some reason we are here to learn, to have certain lessons, to experience certain things. Some of us are here for a shorter amount of time. Some of here are us for a longer amount. I believe we, choose the families that we come in because they give us the environment that we need in order to expand in the way that is right for us now. So that is all sort of beyond. And it's like so important to also, like, that is the part for me that has helped me in making sense of everything, because I would always face blocks and resistance where I'm like, but this person didn't, there's no way this person manifested this. Like, some things are just way beyond. So that, and just not being in my head and just trusting. And of course, those are always the moments that I get really, like, even more emotional. But yeah, I'm sharing that here. This just came up. There you go, in the podcast. So I am going to leave you with this. I feel like I will be back sharing more, but it felt like I just wanted to share this aspect of what the day meant for me personally, for the people that were in attendance. Oh, the other thing I was going to say that was huge, learning on a personal level. We invested in an event planner for this event. So I have used Kim Torrance for many years. She is a resource that I have in my business and has become a dear friend. So that was like easy to go to her. But it's so interesting how part of why, Binu and I were saying, like, wow, we are so calm. Like, we're able to show up, and it was, there was like this calm energy around it, yet it was like high frequency, but calm at the same time. And that is because we had her looking after all of the details. It made such a difference. And I know it's not always possible. And for some of you who are, business owners, and I mean, we wear so many different hats. And financially, we have to make it work with what we have. So I totally get that. And wow, what a difference to be able to focus on why we were there, which was the connection piece and the teaching aspect and the presence aspect of like being there and facilitating and guiding the day. So we could focus on that because we knew that everything else was looked after. And what a gift. What a gift. So that reminder to invest in yourself when you can, so that you can show up differently, right? You're not weighed down by all of the details. You're able to show up in your power in a different way. So here we go. I am so incredibly grateful. Thank you for being here, for being on this journey with me. I am, I still, every time I meet someone and they're like, oh, I was listening to your podcast or this helped, like, it still is almost like, ooh, shocking. Or I'll meet someone and they'll say something from an episode and it just takes me a moment to like remember it. It honestly means the world to me that you take some time out, whatever it is that you're doing, but to listen to this. I have so much gratitude for you. And please connect with me. Let me know what is resonating, what you want to hear more of. And if you want to take this mindset spirituality deeper, next level, come join us in the Spiritually Wired membership, because this is where we get to be in community and do this together, holding hands. So with this, I will remind you that you are always spiritually connected for love, for success, for peace, for abundance, for you are spiritually wired for all of your goals and desires and dreams. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Spiritually Wired. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and leave a review. It really makes a big difference for the podcast. And if you're ready to dive deeper and join a soul-led community, come be a part of the Spiritually Wired membership. With weekly live lessons and a rich library of recorded classes, it's designed to support you every step of the way on your spiritual journey. We currently have a special offer where you can receive your first month for half the price. You can find a link in the show notes or come check it out at reneewalkerwellness.com. Until next time, remember to take some deep breaths. Remember that you are spiritually wired.